You made the distinction earlier in the show about being an entrepreneur versus an investor. How would you qualify your investment or engagement in Lenskart? Would you say that you are an entrepreneur looking at Lenskart, or you spotted a big market opportunity which you invested in with an entrepreneur of your choice?
Lenskart is purely an investment from where I sit. It's really backing an entrepreneur. So to me, the DNA is if I'm a co-founder and if I'm a co-founder, then I'm deeply involved with the company. I'm deeply curious and engaged with the founder of Lenskart. But there it would be, I may have 5 points of view and it's up to him to take one or none of the ideas. When I'm looking at the company as an executive chairman, I don't have the choice that says, I have 5 ideas, let's see if my team likes some of them. So it's a different sense of driving, and Lenskart is an investment.
Tell us about the movies bit. We've spoken about a bit about EdTech and Lenskart and even UTV. But, you know, RSVP, you keep saying it's a hobby of yours, but I can't help thinking that a very large part of your creative heart lies in that venture. Is there any financial motive at all in that, or does it exist only to satisfy some creative urges in you?
So now it definitely is only and solely as a hobby and a passion. It does not have any financial. I don't want to go out there and raise any money on it. And that's because personally I feel doing repeat acts in life are very tricky and difficult. And I wouldn't want to do that. Second, I think having done that in media, and when you look at it as a business, almost 80% of what you decide is something that you have to do and 20% you want to do. The difference today in my being able to pick and tell the stories I want to tell is if I don't have a P&L accountability or having raised anyone's funding, everything that I greenlight is something that I want to do, not have to do. And that's quite liberating. Then it becomes a hobby. Then it becomes a very different sense of how you do that. So I want to treasure that moment of being able to want to do everything and not necessarily have to do it. And that's my clean-cut differentiator when it comes to storytelling. In terms of my creative buzz, yeah, I think it's unfinished business. I think at heart, I really enjoy that element of storytelling.
Just coming back to EdTech for a minute, while the sector has done incredibly well, there is also some chatter in the ecosystem about how some things are not going very well. Like, you know, you hear about lots of complaints. Some people say online education is not quite delivering what it started out meaning to deliver. There's some talk about organizations folding up, etc. Do you think the ecosystem is really healthy, or maybe there are things which could change for the better?
When you're market making and creating something out of nothing, there'll always be some side reactions, I would say, and under no circumstances am I justifying them. Education is something where nobody has looked at to have a market. It's always been you have a brand and then you go to that. As a college has been there, or a university for 50 years. But for most people, education has been an event. It's scheduled. It's school and then it's college. Now, so there's two different parts. One, in the K-12 sector, it's very difficult to measure outcomes. It's soft. It's parents, their FOMO, their ability to say, am I giving my kids the best? So between the time you invest in something, and there may or may not be an outcome because it's difficult you may think the marketing approach is very different. When it comes to higher education, outcomes can be defined very sharply. Because if you put in to learn something, it needs to augment your career. You need to get a promotion, you need to get a shift of a job, you need to do that. Otherwise, so I think those fundamentals have been established. Second, overall education in universities has always been a very selective medium. Online is a much more eliminative medium. If there are 10,000 people who apply for a college, they'll select 200. In online, if 10,000 people apply, 9,000 will be given the opportunity and 1,000 will be told differently. So the expectations at scale are something that people will need to align themselves to. I would not make that into a panic mode, but sure, if somebody is being aggressively marketing and overselling something, that doesn't do the industry well at all, because the first thing you need to do is be conservative in your approach. Now, if there are 100 startups in any sector and 2 fold up, I think that is something that would be much more founder-driven or company-driven or model-driven than labeling a sector. Because I think in almost any and every sector, there'll always be some people that have started up something and it didn't work out, mostly because the model wasn't right in the first place or they ran out of funding.